Okay.
I'll have to talk to them about it. We're gonna change the setup some.
Okay. I don't know why it's not linking up nicely, but you guys see the right side, so now we're going to go. Okay. 15 leadership qualities that make great leaders. All right. So in the chat or shout it out loud, what leadership quality of this 15 do you think is the most important? I mean, I could read this all out loud to you guys, but you're all capable of reading. And frankly, I hate when people just read slides out loud to me. Anybody?
I don't mind you reading.
Honesty and integrity, confidence, inspiring others, commitment and passion, good communicator, decision-making capacities, accountability, delegation and empowerment, creativity and innovation, empathy. I don't know, I'm reading empathy wrong.
Yeah, empathy.
Resilience. I told you I took a long walk. Emotional intelligence, humility, transparency, vision, and purpose. So any Xavier's accountability and vision and purpose. Yeah, I think that's really important. Anybody else have something they want to throw out there?
I like commitment and passion, because I feel like if you are committed and you have passion, then you can hone in on the other skills too.
Definitely. Anybody else? I think emotional intelligence is really important to be a leader, either a leader for good or a leader for bad, because you can definitely weaponize emotional intelligence too. But I think that if you want to get people to follow your vision, follow what you want, or follow where you're walking, that emotional intelligence is really important. What's something that you as a leader need to work on? I know I struggle with decision-making capacities. Like painting the shed, you don't know how long I took to pick the shed colors. And then I could only decide on the trim color and bought like 4 more samples of paint before I finally decided on the color I wanted for the shed. And even if I ordered the shed and it was coming, it was going to be built, I kept hemming and hawing. Is it going to be too big? Should I have gotten different windows? Is this going to work? Blah, blah, blah. So decision making, I think, is definitely a hard one for me.
I can relate with that, and it looks like Xavier said that in the chat too.
Mm-hmm. Veronica, what's a leadership skill you want to work on?
Probably my vision and my purpose.
Yeah, it's important to know where we want to go, what we want to do, because where else are you going to lead people to? Yeah. I'm in charge. I have no idea where I'm going. So honesty and integrity. Eisenhower said the supreme quality of leadership is the unquestionable integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a section gang, a football field, in an army, or in an office. Honesty and integrity are 2 important ingredients which makes a good leader. Can you guys think of examples that disprove this? Can we think of people who have gotten lots of people to follow them who are not very honest and don't have a lot of integrity?
Hitler.
Anybody else?
That's actually what I was gonna say.
Jamestown? Who said that was actually what I was going to say?
Allie.
Me, Allie.
Oh, hi, Ellie. I can't tell who's talking. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Who said that? Courtney says Trump. Yeah. Those are all great examples. There's, numerous CEOs. Thinking the Enron guys. Thinking the guys who are running Volkswagen for a while. Numerous CEOs who have run successful companies who have found out to be incredibly corrupt, doing illegal practices, stealing pension money from their employees. A few years ago, Volkswagen did this whole scam where they said that their diesels were producing zero carbon emissions because they had hacked or fudged or whatever into the system that was checking for how much emissions they were putting out there. So they flat out just cheated the systems. And then were advertising and selling their cars as being this amazingly environmentally friendly vehicle when they were not. So, and they made a lot of money. They got a lot of people to follow them. They were definitely leaders, innovators. And I'm sure there's a lot more people that haven't gotten caught, right? Confidence. To be an efficient leader, if you could be confident enough to ensure that others follow your commands. If you're unsure about your own decisions and qualities, then your subordinates will never follow you. As a leader, you have to be oozing with confidence. Show some swagger and assertiveness to gain the respect of your subordinates. This does not mean that you should be overconfident, but that you should at least reflect a degree of confidence required to ensure that your followers will trust you as a leader. What do we think about this? Confidence. I think someone had this I can't as part of their vision board, that little graphic there. It looks familiar to me. Confidence. Can we see examples of where people's confidence has carried them really far? Can we think of examples where people's confidence turns people off?
Sometimes people's confidence could be mistaken as overpowering, so then you feel like you can't speak or come forward with anything because you'll be shot down. So you have to find that balance.
I think, in current politics, definitely think that both the current presumptive nominees show a lot of confidence. I think that Trump has used confidence really successfully in his campaigning to get people to follow him. I think Biden does a very similar thing. Biden says a lot of, you said that? And people are like, yeah, that's cool because he's confident when he says it. I will warn that a lot of times when women show that level of confidence, people don't read it as something that they want to follow. And it gets
Double standard.
dealt very differently. So sometimes when you're leading based on race, based on gender, based on hair and height, bald men, short men, they don't get followed the same degree. So there's a lot in there. We're going slow. We're talking, George.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
I like the conversation. But I don't know about short guys because look at Hitler, look at Napoleon. Napoleon was like 5'3".
he wasn't actually. He was average height for his time period.
Oh,
He
really?
was like 5'6" or 5'7", and that was average height.
Oh, wow.
It's a myth that he was actually really short.
Huh.
I mean, he wasn't particularly tall, but yeah, there's been this thing like CEOs. There's like very few CEOs below the height of I think 5'9" or something like that. And then there's just also like having full heads of hair are more likely to be successful. There's not always true, but it definitely there's some correlations between height and hair and
Yeah.
men who become leaders of companies or other forms of large leadership. Also,
I do agree with you. Like the whole machismo thing. Like guys, when a man has a female boss, they're more like, oh, okay, yeah, always challenging her, which is I don't know why society we've been programmed like that, but shouldn't be.
and when a woman tries, oftentimes, not always, but often when a woman tries to, give the same kind of teasing and razzing that guys do, it comes off in a very different way. And so she's trying to be one of the guys, and it comes off in a way that's very not productive to morale to her employees. And I know plenty of women who would hate to have a woman boss. They don't want one.
Right.
So I'm not trying to blame anyone's gender. I'm saying that as many of you are women who are leaders, you may find that navigating as leaders has some different rules than some guys do. That's all I'm saying. So inspiring others, as John Quincy Adams put it, if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. If you are successful in inspiring your subordinates, you can easily overcome any current and future challenges easily. Can somebody who hasn't talked give me an example of a leader who has inspired others or a leader who has failed to inspire others?
5 minutes a night.
What?
5 minutes a night.
Yes, but it beeps. Thank you, baby.
Got one.
Oh, yeah. What we got?
Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Yes. He was very inspirational. He was definitely a leader in the Black Civil Rights Movement, but he was their spokesman because he was so inspirational, right? There was a lot of other people in charge of leadership, a lot of other people who were figuring out plans, who were organizing boycotts, who were doing tons of leadership. But the one that they had out there giving the speeches, the face, the leader, was the most charismatic and the most inspiring to other people, just the way he spoke and carried himself, right? Not to say that his other accomplishments weren't really, really important, but the reason he was the face of that movement was very much because he could inspire others so well. Okay, commitment and passion. If your team looks up to you and you want them to if you want them to give them their all, you should have to be passionate too. When your teammates see you getting your hands dirty, they will also give their best shot. It will also help you to gain respect of your subordinates and infuse new energy into your team members, and which helps them to perform better. If they feel that you are not fully committed or lack passion, that would be an uphill task for the leader to motivate your followers to achieve their goal. All right, thoughts on commitment and passion. Can we think of a leader or shows that, or somebody who doesn't show that, who shows the opposite of that? Or your thoughts on commitment and passion? Karina, do you got something for me? Xavier says Gandhi. Gandhi definitely had a lot of passion and commitment, right?
Mm.
He gave up his lifestyle to take the lowest caste possible. He fasted. He didn't just ask everyone else to do hunger strikes. He did them. He sacrificed a lot. And yes, you can delve into his life and look at some stuff that he did, the treatment of his wife and so forth, that you're like, But when it comes for the cause, when it comes for what he was fighting for, he definitely had commitment. He put his body on the line, right? And that inspired other people. Good communicator. Until you clearly communicate your vision to your team and tell them the strategy to achieve the goal, it'll be very difficult for you to get the results that you want. Rosa Parks, MLK. Okay, those guys were all committed, weren't they? They put their bodies on the line. Definitely. Good job. What about for good communicators? Have you guys ever been part of a team or classroom and your leader was not a good communicator? Can somebody come off mute and tell me about a time that they had to work with a leader, whatever kind of role that was? It could definitely be a teacher in a classroom who was not a good communicator, or a boss, or a project leader in a group project, or a summertime program where you prepared for college. Anyone have a time you had to deal with a bad communicator? George, have you ever had to deal with a bad communicator?
Oh, yes. Tons of times, like they tell you to do a task, but they don't tell you how to do it or when is it done. They just tell you, hey, go lower the flag. Okay. What does that mean? Which flag? Where is the flag? Who is going with me? What am I going to do with the flag after I lower it? How do I fold it? You know, it's challenging if you don't have a clear communicator that doesn't tell you specifics. And sometimes they, oh, you can improvise. I'm like, no, that's stuff like some projects you cannot just improvise. You got to have detail, clear, concise, precise information. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. George, I can keep clicking the slide forward. Do you want to take over the talk?
I don't care. You're doing great, Elizabeth. Yeah. We can tag team it if you like. However you want to do it, we can keep going. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do this together.
Okay.
Decision-making capacities. So apart from having a futuristic view, a leader should be able to have the ability to make the right decisions at the right time. Decisions taken by leaders have profound impact on masses. A leader should think long and hard before taking a decision, but once that decision is taken, stand by it. Although most leaders take decisions on their own, but it's highly recommended that you consult key stakeholders before taking a decision. After all, they're the ones who will benefit or suffer from your decisions. So George, do you have anything you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, I will have to say that that's one of the biggest, hardest things to do, because once you make that decision as a leader of a group or a team or whatever it is, or a project, you have to live with it. You have to take responsibility. You own it. Once you tell them we're gonna paint the sky green, and we're doing it because that's what makes the most sense, even though it's wrong, you paint it green. It's on you. You made that decision. You are the face of the project. They're not going to come after, your group members. They're going to say, hey, George made that decision. Like when we saw COVID-19 coming, oh, it's no big deal. It's just a flu, a small flu. And you don't close the nation, you don't prepare for it. You have to live with that. If 250 people die, it's because you made that decision of not closing down or not putting systems into place to prevent people from dying, okay? So this is very important. It's really hard. Usually, like when I used to make decisions in the Army, I pull everybody in because everybody has their own expertise, like I wasn't all that confident with explosives. So I will ask my explosive guy, hey, what can I use to blow this door without hurting anyone? So to make decisions, ask people, ask your team, hey, what do you think about this? And based on all the information you gather from your team or your project managers, then you can make an informed decision, which is usually best than just go by emotions or what you think is right or your values, because sometimes we're all very different. My values are completely different than some other person, and that will drive me to make a decision that's based on my values and not what some others are looking for.
Definitely. Have you guys heard the saying, the buck stops here? The buck stops here. There's a big talking point. I think George Bush said that, like in the first senior, George Bush Sr. said that in like his campaign speeches and stuff. But the passing the buck, the idea that you can keep shifting the blame to somebody else and that a real leader takes responsibility, says, nope, it stops here. I'm in charge. It's my responsibility, right? Like, I don't take any responsibility for this. That's a bad thing for a leader to say, right? You want someone who takes responsibility. And I think also it's really important, and a true sense of a leader, something I admire is when a leader can admit they made the wrong decision and then go about trying to fix it, right? You know, oops, my bad. I learned something here. I'm going to undo or try and undo or fix the harm that I've caused or whatever. Does that make sense to you guys? The ability to recognize when you do something wrong and then go forward with being accountable for that wrong. That's super important just for adults, just to be a good human being. Accountability comes right back to that. Yeah, the buck stops here. A good leader takes little more than his share of the blame and a little less than his share of the credit. Okay. How do you guys feel about that statement?
Remember, guys, we talked about humility in the past and people skills, right?
So Jade, how do you feel about that idea? A good leader takes little more than his share of the blame and a little less than his share of the credit. Xavier agrees with that.
Who are you asking, Jade, Elizabeth?
Yeah, see how she felt. Courtney agrees with it. Yeah. Yeah, because even if I assign something to some, I'm not Priscilla's boss, right? I am not her boss. Riva's both of our bosses. But sometimes I will ask Priscilla to do something. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff, and I kind of delegate to her a little bit. I'm like, hey, Priscilla, would you mind doing this task? And she's like, no, yeah, I can totally do that. And I'm like, thank you so much. I super appreciate you. Now, if she goes out to do that task and then the task doesn't get done correctly, and our boss Riva's like, why doesn't this done right? I would say, it was my bad because I didn't explain to Priscilla what needed to happen here, right? So I'm going to take blame on there, even though I wasn't the one who did it. I'll still take blame for it because I didn't set my coworker, my partner, up for success, right? And so I have to take some accountability in that. And when things do go right, I make sure when we was like, hey, you guys did really good on this event. I can't believe you got this many numbers to show up. I've got to make sure that I'm giving props to my colleague who went out and hustled and got all you guys to show up for something. And I got to make sure that our boss realizes all the hard work that Priscilla did, right? Because we're a team. And that's how you support each other. Does that make sense to you guys?
It makes you better because if you're not held accountable, you're gonna keep making the same mistakes over and over and over. If you don't know what's going on, if you think you're doing the right thing and nobody tells you, because usually, like subordinates are afraid to tell you, hey, George, that is wrong. So it's up to your boss to let you know, hey, George, you got to stop that behavior. That's not acceptable. They hold you accountable and like, oh, thank you so much. I didn't know. I didn't realize I was making that mistake. So I appreciate the honesty for holding me accountable, and I can fix myself.
And we can all think of leaders who don't take accountability, who are always like, it's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And they take no responsibility for that. And we know those aren't very good leaders. The delegation and empowerment. This can be a really hard one. You can't do everything. You can't. It's important for leaders to focus on key responsibilities while leaving the rest of the others. And you got to be empowering to your followers and delegate tasks to them. If you micromanage your subordinates, they will develop a lack of trust, and more importantly, you will not be able to focus on important matters as you should. So just like George, he was not the explosives expert. He had to delegate that to the guy on his team who was the explosives expert, right? So that George had time to do other stuff, but also so the best person, like most people are going to run a team and not know everything in that team. We'll use my husband for an example. He's sitting right behind me. He's a pretty smart dude. Xavier, you met my husband, right? He's a smart dude, right? Yep. So at his company, he's the IT systems manager, meaning he runs all the hardware sides of the computers. He runs the computers, he runs the servers, he is very much babies his server room. It's his server room. He doesn't care who's asking the president of the company. No, that's my server room, not yours. Takes a lot of ownership there, right? His boss, his director, delegates that to Jordan. His director does not know how to run the server room. His director does not know all the little things that Jordan does daily to make sure that the network runs, that make sure the computers are running, the phone systems are running. If Jordan quit with no notice, his company would actually see a significant loss in productivity because he's the subject matter expert. So his boss does not try and tell Jordan how the servers work because he's a smart man who realizes he needs to delegate that to his subordinate, right? The CEO of the company is not going to go and tell everybody how to do every task that they have to do. Even if they work from the warehouse on up, they're not going to be the masters of accounting, right? They're going to leave that to the accounting people. And if you have a boss that doesn't give you any freedom or control in what you're doing, you're going to hate your job, right? We're smart people. We want to use our brains. We've been trained for this. We're experts in our subject matter. And so if we have a boss who's constantly like telling us what to do, every little thing, no, you have to do this exact way, not letting you use your brain, you're going to be resentful. Has anyone had a boss like that? A teacher like that, a coworker like that, anyone like that they want to talk about?
I will say it's very toxic if your boss doesn't delegate and he doesn't empower you. The team is not going to be as strong as if he would delegate and empower because he's trusting you by delegating. So you think you as a boss, hey, you know what's best for the team. Like for example, let's say we're in a group together and we have to go to Russia to put a new program that they need help with going out of spacecraft. If I know that Elizabeth speaks Russian and I don't, even though I am the leader of the team, she's going to be the translator and she's going to be in charge because she speaks the language. And I'm okay with that because that's making us stronger. So I'm going to delegate my authority. I would always be responsible, but I want to take Elizabeth, hey, since you speak Russian, why don't you take charge and let's get through this. And I don't speak any Russian, so let me know if you need help with this, but you're in charge of it. Let's do it. Let's go help the Russians. Yeah.
Creativity and innovation. What separates a leader from a follower? Steve Jobs, the greatest visionary of our time, answers this question this way. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. In order to get ahead in today's fast-paced world, a leader must be creative and innovative at the same time. Creative thinkers and constant innovation is what makes you and your team stand out from the crowd. Think out of the box to come up with unique ideas and turn those ideas and goals into reality.
Woo-hoo.
Any thoughts on this? Anyone want to pop up? I'd love to hear from Jade.
I want to be completely honest. That hand freaks me out.
Okay. Yeah, it's a weird looking hand. I agree. I'm not trying to pick on Jade. I just haven't heard from Jade. So that's why I keep picking on her. I know she's not feeling so good though, so I'll let her be. Anyone else have any thoughts on creativity and innovation?
Come on, especially nowadays that we have to be creative because we cannot go to work. We have to do all this virtual stuff. So believe it or not,
Priscilla, can you talk about being creative with the summer program?
yeah. See, there we go. Yeah.
She's like, nope, I can't. Okay, it's okay. So empathy. Oh, Xavier, creativity can be important. Otherwise, you might not know what to do next. Very good, Xavier. George, do you want to read empathy?
Yeah, we talked about empathy, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? But remember, always put yourself in their shoes. Understand what makes your team members spark, what makes them get up in the morning, want to come to work for me because I'm the boss. How can I motivate Elizabeth? What makes her want to be here and do her job? What makes Courtney wants to excel at this job, or Priscilla? What is it that put yourself in their shoes, understand where they're coming from, understand their culture, especially nowadays there's a lot of cultural differences. And just empathize, get to know your group better. Remember, active listening and empathizing go together. Because once you understand what it is that makes them want to try harder, your job will be so much easier if you're a leader, because you know how to make them do. Okay, like I had a soldier that he loved to take 3 to 4 day weekends. So I knew, hey man, listen, if you do good on this new PT test, if you score over 290 points, I'll get you Friday off. And that dude was always 295 or higher. That was his thing. He wanted Fridays off because he'd go hiking for 3 days. Even at work here at Evergreen, hey, if we get 20 applications on Friday, we take Monday off. Well, okay. I'll get on the phone and start calling people. That motivates me. My boss tells me you're going to have a day off if you get 20 applications in one day. So, yeah, just understand how your team works. Get to know your team members.
Yeah. That's great. I think empathy is really strong. You want to be an empathetic team, and when your boss cares about you, you're going to work harder for your boss. Resilience. Oh, this is a good one. Who wants to read resilience for me? Tabitha, do you want to read it for me?
Yeah, I'll read it. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. You might have heard this adage. What is that word?
Adage.
Adage.
It's an analogy.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. You might have heard this adage many times, but did you know that great leaders also follow this rule? They are resilient and have a positive attitude. Irrespective of how difficult the circumstances might be, you will find them rallying their followers. While most people are busy complaining about the problems, great leaders always focus on solutions, not the problems. I feel like that also speaks to like creativity and innovation as being like a vital role in resilience.
Very true.
As first generation college students, you all are going to have to show a tremendous amount of resilience. And it's interesting to me, summer programs, like we'll see certain kids not be able to make it to the whole summer program, and not just this crazy COVID Zoom summer program, but staying in the dorms and toughing it out and being hot and sticky and tired and done with greenery food and just wanting to go home. And we'll know the kids that can keep pushing forward. And we know that those students are going to be more successful in college and in life because they continue to persevere, right? They're resilient. Does anyone want to share a time that they had to be resilient?
I'd say now during this whole quarantine summer program.
Yeah. It's a challenge, isn't it? And you guys are showing tremendous resilience. Xavier says the greenery food is not that bad. I don't know. All I know is I ate too many French fries while I was there.
I love that positive twist, but you see how Savior, he understands there's a problem, but it's not that bad. There's a problem, but I can overcome it.
Yes.
So that's the way of thinking. When you're resilient, you identify the problem, but don't let it consume you, right? If you're thinking about the problem all the time, oh, this food sucks, that's negativity, that's gonna drag you down. If you're resilient, yeah, okay, I know food sucks, but guess what? I just need the calories to get me through the day to keep me awake. So I'm gonna stuff one of those nasty burgers down so I have the energy to keep going throughout the day. So that's how you put that spin on negativity, and you become resilient by always looking for the solution instead of concentrating on the problem. Yeah, there is a problem. I acknowledge it, but I'm going to move on. How do I fix this problem? Bring my own food to the greenery and eat my own food, or yeah.
Yeah, like making meaning out of any situation.
Yeah, be much happier too.
You definitely will. Okay. Emotional intelligence. Who wants to do emotional intelligence for me?
If no one wants to, I can again.
Any students want to read? All right, Tabitha, go for it.
Good leaders always have higher influence, but how do they increase their influence on the point where people accept what they say? They do this by connecting with people emotionally. This is where emotional intelligence comes into play. Let's see. So these are some reasons why a leader should be emotionally intelligent. It helps you to manage emotions effectively, to have better social awareness, for seamless communication, for conflict resolution. With emotional intelligence, leaders can control their emotions, which prevents negative emotions from influencing their decision-making skills. As a result, they're less likely to make hasty decisions. Emotionally intelligent leaders are great at understanding the emotions and care about the feelings of others. This is not all. Leaders who have this leadership, or that is not all. Leaders who have this leadership quality not only handle conflict in a better way, but also play an important role in conflict resolution.
Any thoughts on emotional intelligence, guys?
And this is what we talked about last week for like 30 some minutes, memory one. People skills, emotional intelligence equals people skills. You guys remember that?
Well, I think emotional intelligence is more than just people skills. I've been in some parenting classes led by psychologists who talk about trying to raise better children, and also about how we can raise our boys to be more compassionate because of the gender roles that women and men raise boys into. A lot of times they're cut off from emotional outlets and the ability that feels like they can care about other people. And so what parents can do better. And emotional intelligence has different layers, but understanding your own emotions, things like understand that anger is a secondary emotion. You're angry because you're sad. You're angry because you're frustrated. You're angry because your sense of justice is offended. Anger is a secondary. So people who have a strong understanding of their own emotions and then the emotions of other people. And the third level is their ability to affect the emotions of other people. And if you have emotional intelligence and you don't have empathy, what are you going to get, guys? If you're really good about sussing out the emotions of other people and you're really good about impacting those emotions, but you don't have empathy and care for those people, what kind of person are you going to be?
A grunt.
Manipulative.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can be manipulative in a couple of different ways. People don't like being manipulative, but there's diet programs where you bet money that you're going to lose weight. And if you don't lose this weight, then you're going to lose that money. But if you do lose the weight, then you're going to get the money you bet plus a little bit more back, right? So those are all like manipulations that you can do, that you can be a part of, that will help you change your behavior and go after the goals you want to go through. So manipulation is not always bad, but you can lead without empathy,
Yeah.
and you can get people to do things, but it isn't necessarily things that are going to make those people's lives better or the world better. Does that make sense to you guys at all?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
There's a,
and you
there's a
can break it
balance.
down. Yeah, the balance. You can break it down to the point where if you're really, really, really emotional intelligent, remember that the low mid-level managers they use we instead of I. I'm telling you to complete this task because it needs to be done. No, we're gonna come, hey guys, we need to finish this so we can get the heck out of here. Just one word makes that much of a difference.
Totally.
I am telling you, Elizabeth, we're gonna sit here for an hour. No, Elizabeth, we are gonna discuss leadership qualities today
Yep.
to make us better, members of society. Just
We're
one,
all in this together.
yeah, like conflict resolution. If you use why is very, very confrontational. So if you're having a conversation and it's going south, don't use why. Like if you don't agree with stuff, well, why not? No, you can say like, will you please explain that to me in a different way? I'm not understanding it. Instead of like, I'm not doing it. Why? Well, you're not doing it. How come you're not doing it? Can you explain what it is that's bugging you? So little keywords like that will help you with your emotional intelligence and to get better results with people.
Definitely. Humility.
Yeah.
Pride makes us artificial and humility makes us real. Thomas Merton. How would you feel when you are promoted to leadership status? You will feel proud. Good leader is always selfless and always thinks about his or her followers. That is why leadership styles, most great leaders, that is why the leadership styles most great leaders adopt put lots of emphasis on problem solving and team dynamics instead of focusing on self-promotion. So humility. Can a student define humility or tell us what it means in their own words?
I like
Humble. Veronica, humble. I love Xavier's. Yeah. So humility is being humble. It's not putting yourself forward, not bragging, not thinking that you're the very best. So I'm going to put Xavier on the spot. Xavier, I'm going to out you, okay? Xavier is a smart student. Many of you guys are. But Xavier's worked really hard and has a 4.0. And he's carried that all the way through from freshman year to now entering his senior year. And Xavier is particularly strong in math and science, but he's got a 4.0 in everything. So Xavier, when you're in a math class, how do you keep from feeling like you're the smartest kid in that math class?
I don't think I'm the smartest kid in the class. I just do the work, and I look at my mistakes and I yell at myself for that and keep on going.
So, but being humble and having humility is not the same as having low self-esteem. Because Xavier, you acknowledge that you are strong at math, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you know you're good at it, right?
yeah.
So you can know that you're good at something and still be humble about it. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, cool. Sorry to put you on the spot like that, Xavier. But you're really good at being humble. I really appreciate that about you. Veronica says yes, she's getting it. Transparency. All right. Who wants to read transparency?
I can explain transparency.
Go
We don't
for
have
it, George.
to go, but transparency is just always tell your team, if you're in a leadership position, what is really going on. Okay, don't hide anything. Don't try to sugarcoat stuff. Just let them know straight up. Hey guys, we're gonna have to stick here till midnight tonight because this project has to be done. And we took Monday off because we wanted to go golfing. Now we have to pay the consequences. Don't try to hide it, sugarcoat it. You earn more respect from your subordinates in a leadership position if you're always honest with them. Be upfront, be honest. Hey guys, listen, we're gonna have to work Saturday and Sunday this week to get this project done. So I'm just giving you a heads up so you let your family know. They will appreciate that. Especially if you're there with them. Remember what we talked about earlier? Be humble and transparent. Always be open. Explain what's going on. Never try to hold information back. Hey, yes, we're going to get furlough. All of us are going to have to take a furlough day per month. I'm not going to lie to you. It sucks, but we have to do it because that's what this state is asking from us. So always be upfront, always be transparent, whether it's great news or bad news. Hey, we're going to get a raise. I found out yesterday, we're going to get $12 raise. So congratulations, guys. Thank you for your hard work. But that means we're going to have to work weekends now, okay? So you're just being upfront. So transparency is very, very important. Yeah, always, then never lie to your subordinates because they will lose all respect if you lie to them. Always be upfront, straightforward, be transparent, okay? Any questions on transparency?
Can you students think of a time when maybe you felt like Upward Bound was transparent with you, or maybe a time where you felt like we were not transparent with you? And you're not going to hurt our feelings. Do you guys have any examples or anything you can pull out? Nothing?
And we're putting your students to sleep, Elizabeth. We got to sing then.
None that I can think of, Courtney. Okay. Well, there's been definitely some issues with like field trips before, right? And we've tried to be transparent with you guys. So, okay. Vision and purpose. Good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive to complete it. Jack Welch. Good leaders always have vision and purpose. They not only visualize the future themselves, but also share their vision with their followers. When their followers are able to see the big picture, they can see where they're heading. A great leader goes above and beyond to explain why they are moving in the direction they are moving and shares the strategies and action plans to achieve that goal. Xavier said accountability and vision and purpose were the skills he thought were most important for leaders when we first asked at the beginning. Who else thinks that vision and purpose are really important skills for leaders? Anyone?
I think they're very important.
Courtney
Courtney
agrees.
does.
And this is true to a corporation, guys. Like when you go to college and after you graduate and you start applying, looking for jobs, make sure that job that you're applying for, that they have the mission statement as part of the corporation, because that's usually a sign of good corporation. If they're not gonna, if they cannot tell you what they're about and how to treat their people, how do they treat their people, then it's not a good place to work. And this vision and purpose, it pretty much tells everyone from the CEO to the janitor, what the company is all about. If they're about helping people in the medical profession, or if they're about building the future when it comes to housing or the environment. So this is really important. And once you become familiar with the vision and purpose of the company you're working for, you can influence your team to fulfill that vision and purpose, right? And motivate them to fulfill the vision and purpose. So just keep that in mind after you graduate, or there's even the school. If you're applying to a college, read their mission statement, what is their vision and purpose, and what's coming out of that school. It's very important.
Can someone tell me the vision and purpose of Upward Bound?
To help us get ready for college.
Yeah. Xavier says ditto. That is exactly our mission statement.
Well, so you guys get 4 years of tuition, right?
No,
No? Oh, okay.
no, I wish.
I thought it was 4 years.
Reva's got some waivers, some money to give out for first year only.
Oh, okay.
I would love that I could give these kids all.
4 years, yeah.
Some of them have it, and some of them don't, unfortunately. So it just depends. All right.
Any questions at all? Because some of the stuff is repetitive. I don't know if you noticed, but you know, we talk about emotional skills, and today we talk about all 15 qualities of good leadership. And it's just to get you thinking about, you know, your own personality. Who do I want to be as a leader when I graduate college and I become an architect for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and I'm going to be in a leadership position. We'll have a team of 3 working for me. How am I going to lead them, you know, to be successful? How am I going to build that? Team building is really important. And that's why I wanted to share this with you guys. It will help you out in the future.
This is our last leadership class. Does anyone have anything else they want to add to George?
How do you go through a mistake? That's a great question, Xavier. It is really hard. So the question is, as a leader, how do you go through a mistake? The first thing I can tell is you own it, okay? Remember what I told you about being transparent? Hey guys, I am sorry. I made a mistake. The 20 hours we put working on this project, we did it all wrong because of me. I didn't understand the purpose and vision. So we're going to have to redo it. So first of all, own it, okay? Never try to lie. Hey guys, the boss wants it done differently. No. Make sure you tell them, hey, I made the mistake. I apologize. We're going to have to redo it. I'm sorry I made you, waste 20 hours you guys put into this. My mistake, my bad. And never hide it from your boss either. Hey, sir or ma'am, I made a mistake. I apologize. We're working on fixing it right now. So that's a great question. You just got to put your face to it. If you made the mistake, you can't recover. Don't put yourself down, shake it off, fix it, and move on from there. Just, to be good at what you do, you have to make mistakes. That's just an important learning tool. And don't try to deflect what happened to someone else or shift blame to someone else. Just own it. Put your face to it. Yeah, great question, Xavier.
I would also say, like, when you start, have open communication and, like, not be so, oh, I never messed up, make mistakes kind of attitude. Because by that point, the first time you do it, they're just not going to either take you serious or they're just, even talk behind your back. Like, it happens. So if you're being kind of stuck up, like, they're going to react that way. But, just having open communication from the beginning and telling them, like, hey, I'm also human, like, I think that also kind of helps.
Great point. That's true. Do you think a leader should decide things through votes or just their own decisions? Hey, that's a great point. Sometimes it all depends on what the situation is, Xavier. Like sometimes when it comes to safety, there is no votes. Safety, you have to go by the risk assessment. But if it comes to a decision on choosing a path to completing a project, and you know that you have some expertise within your team that are more fluent in what you're trying to do, you can put it up to a vote and say, hey, Elizabeth, given your expertise, what's your idea on this? Okay, let's keep that in mind. Hey, Priscilla, how about you? What do you think? And then you put it to a vote. Hey, do we take Elizabeth's approach or we take Priscilla's approach? You can put it to a vote, but as long as you're not compromising safety, what is it? The more ethical, moral, character, safety. Yeah, ethical. As long as you're not going to do anything unethical, that's going to compromise their safety, well, they have to lie about. Okay. So yeah, so it all depends on the situation, and you will get comfortable with that. You know, like if you're a good leader, you always ask for the input from your team members, because that's letting them know, hey guys, we're doing this together. It's not just me. I'll finally make the final decision based on what you and your guys' input and what's the better route to accomplish this task. Great question. Love it. Anything else you guys like to add? Elizabeth, Tabitha, anybody else? Veronica, Jade, Ala, Ali, Ali. Well, thank you guys for your time. It's 12:04. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we went the whole hour.
Thank you, Savior.
Really fast, I want to give you guys an update on the rest of the day. So for class today, we are going to go over everyone's website. So please be prepared to show off your WordPress site and the work that you've accomplished over these 6 weeks, and you should be completely proud of yourselves. We will, during homework time, I'm going to start during homework time, we will start doing evaluations. So I'll break you off into single one-on-one rooms and we'll do an evaluation. It would be great if you had some notes on your own self-evaluation, how you feel you've done over these 6 weeks in the college Brown. We could talk about the leadership class too. And then you guys can give feedback also on how you feel I've done as an instructor. And I really do want that feedback from you. And then I will give feedback on how I feel you've done as a student. And hopefully we'll get all of that taken care of today. If not, we will maybe find time tomorrow to work on that. George, can you throw out your email again for Xavier and anyone else who needs it?
I do that right now.
So that's what's going to happen today. If anyone hasn't turned in any work and you want to get that in, go ahead. I will take that totally into account, any missing work. Okay?
Thank you, guys. Have a great
Thank
rest.
you. Bye, guys. I will see you at 1:30, so enjoy your lunch.
Bye.